Hello, my name is Francis Fox. I'm a trained remote viewer. I was also trained and I'm an expert in interspecies communication, which is a little bit above and beyond being able to talk to your pet. In other words, I'm more than just a pet psychic. I can talk to a wall, I can talk to a meteorite, I can talk to your left hand, which is the hand of receiving, and find out why you're not receiving. A lot of different things can be accessed in terms of communication via interspecies communication. The planets that send us energy, they're a species. Particular planets send particular types of energies. That means that they have an intention for that energy to reach us. If they have an intention, they have consciousness. The cancer cells that wake up at night and reproduce more quickly at night have consciousness. They have intention. Their intention is to wake up at night. That means that there's a consciousness there, which basically is a spirit. This whole spirit thing is going to make people a little bit crazy when they realize that all mold and fungus and um, the parasites that we're talking about, those are all spirits. They all have consciousness. They have a one-track mind, but they have consciousness. Our pets have a one-track mind. What's that? When they align with us and choose to be with us to help us in our process, um, that's their consciousness. They could do a lot more. And they appear to be waking up, pets, and doing a lot more than we ever thought that they could do. They seem to be doing it consistently. And the more that you respect your pet, and the more that you communicate, and the more that you ask your pet to communicate to you when there's danger, where there's something that you need to know, etc., the more they will give you. But it was always there inside of them. And it was their focused intention on helping you that would have stopped it. I find it interesting, the groups of people that take care of pets as if the pets really needed that much taking care of. Perhaps the ones that we breed for being at home and lap dogs and for old people, da da da. But animals have existed forever and they've made it. They have the really cute thing on X where they show all these videos of the panda bears falling down, and somebody always puts, "How do they make it in the wild?" They make it. Maybe they're not so dumb. They're just having continuous fun. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I saw on X, which is where I get my news and where I get my laughs, um, that a lot, there was a lot of news lines talking about chaos. And you remember that since 99, I've been working on prosperity in the midst of chaos. But we need to work also on peace in the midst of chaos, because there will be some places that will be peaceful, but you have to work on it. And you particularly would have to work on it if you achieve that peace or in a state of peace. You have to work on what's happening outside of you, what you're taking in through your eyes and through your ears, which is food for your instruments that create. You need to monitor those, because it's very difficult to bring in all these images of war and of chaos and then to just create peace, because the process of creation starts with images. And those images are images that you saw. You can adjust them, but they're images that you saw. So I'm going to just review quickly what we did yesterday, because today is going to be sitting on top of that. For the first time, I sketched the map of the United States, just generic energies. And then we did our mantra having to do with clearing them, and they cleared. This was what we saw when we came in, and there was just a broken heart with a lot of sadness. And we did the mantras and the focused intention, and we were able to get the spiraling of pink energy and no longer the broken heart. That doesn't mean that it won't break again 15 minutes later, but the more that you do it, the longer the healing process or whatever got healed stays in place. We do have this invasion by ETs. By the way, I'm going back to a homeopathy I was taking before that's called graphite. and it's for anxiety and stress and whatever. But if you read deeply enough, it's also for when you talk too much. Yesterday, I said something here on X I should have never said, and I'm not going to say what I said that I should have said. But last night, I also said something. It's in the news today, and I shouldn't have said it because I'm putting myself in the middle of somebody else's huge plans, and I have no intentions to be in the middle of them. My intention is to create peace by teaching people about the balance of the four elements, because when the elements are balanced, there can be no war. You can only have war if there's an excess of fire. Oh my God, we have global warming. Okay, so you don't like the way scientists explain global warming. You don't believe it. There is an excess of fire in the planet Earth, but it doesn't play out the way they say. It's playing out in violence. But today, I am going to sketch the United States with focused intention. And what is my intention? I want to sketch the energies of prosperity, economic prosperity in the United States. And then we can go ahead and work on it and see if we made a difference. I believe we are at the edge of a precipice, and everything is indicating you're either going to go whoop up or you're going to fall off that precipice. And it's just not to my advantage or to anybody in the world's advantage that the United States economy fall off that precipice, because too many people rely on this economy or will be hurt if anything happens to this economy. Eventually, things will self-correct other places, and maybe other people will look back and say, it was great that the US economy fell. Look what we built here. Now other people are coming to, but we don't want that. From here, we don't want that. So let's see what we can do about that many people feel could be inevitable. Let me just give you a quick review in terms of news. We worked diligently on Venezuela last night and Mexico. In Venezuela, everything got cleared except that the portal in the south of Venezuela had not been finished. We hadn't finished closing it, and that was where the mines were, where the owners of the mine would murder everybody who could not work in the mines so that they wouldn't have to feed them. And that went on for many, many, many years. And that rage that the people couldn't express is in the land, and it breaks through to the underworld, to what hell is. Anyway, we kind of finished closing it, but today, or in the middle of the night, I woke up and I could see black smoke coming out of there. And then there's a lot in the news today about it's so funny, the OAS going after Maduro. Okay. We came up with a visualization for Venezuela. Remember that our ultimate intention is for a miraculously peaceful transition. The election was already won. There does not seem to be a question there. So you want a peaceful transition. And I came up with a visualization, which was, and we have it up on our social media, and I was going to try to show it to you, but I didn't get to it in time, where you are to visualize the high-ranking military members in Venezuela in their bedrooms next to their wife or their mate or whoever, taking off their uniforms and saying, I don't want this anymore. Just that visualization. I don't want this anymore. And I believe it's going to make a big difference. There's going to be some interferences, which I could see in the news today, but the power of the mind is really incredible. And a couple of people contacted me today and said that I really needed to be careful because I was exposing plans from hugely powerful people and countries, which is why I'm taking the graphite starting tonight, talk too much, and that they could, and they are already working on me in the other dimensions in terms of black magic. That's a very big thing in Venezuela and in other places. But I already know that is not going to happen. I'm not going to get taken down. I'm not going to get murdered. Why do I know that? It's not my intention. Now, what do I have to watch out for? Yes, I need to not say things that I could have said it in a different way and it would have been, you could have just went, "Oh, did she say that?" I said it the way I say it. Yes, I said it. But the thing we all have to watch out for having to do with getting murdered, getting killed, whatever, dying is our intention because intention creates reality. It's not my intention to die now. I haven't finished. I have that darn book. I can't leave until that's done, and that's not done. And then I'm supposed to enjoy myself once I get that done. So, you know what? It's not going to happen one way or another. Also, you need to follow the rules. So, okay, so I didn't follow the rules. I talked too much. Okay, I'll take care of that with the homeopathy. But my enemies have to follow the rules. Hierarchy collapsed. I didn't realize that till last night. Hierarchy collapsed. Well, what does that say about the military? They're not supported in the other dimensions. Where reality is created, which is in the other dimensions, you do not create anything, including something physical in the physical dimension. It's first created in the other dimensions, and then it manifests in the physical dimension. Hierarchy has collapsed, and community is in. So the work we're doing with the Mantrista movement in Venezuela, and now we started last night in Mexico, and it was great. We get supported because we're part of the new age of Aquarius, and the military are not supported because that's hierarchy. I suspect that a lot of the stuff that's happening in this country that we're not happy with, with people playing games with us, they don't give us enough information, then they do this, they do that, everybody's getting away with everything. I'm not sure that they're going to be getting away with it. And I'm not talking ultimately, because that was a hierarchy that kept everybody under control to the point, and I've told you the story several times. Revealed my history, especially the really horrifying with the tortures and all the rest of that in the 90s, because I was into my therapy. I still do therapy, whatever, but that was the real. And people, they were like, "Oh my God," no reaction. It was like an acceptance of the powers that be, an acceptance of bad stuff. And there's still a little bit of that going on, but there's much more of a reaction of like, no more. Power of the people. Oh, what a great thing, Age of Aquarius. Is the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. It's a really real thing. It's the people at the top that have to get worried. They're not supported anymore. They're not supported by the people underneath them because all the garbage is getting revealed, but they're not supported in the other dimensions. So interesting. And we get back to the whole Elon Musk model for business. In this new age, you better be in love with what you do. And what you do had better be something that comes from your heart and you want to do it because you know it's going to really help other people. Even if you can make a ton of money. Not like the other age. If you were really spiritual, you couldn't make a ton of money. Because then people say, they're not spiritual. Look, they charge for events and they do all this. Different ages, different rules. Interesting. So I'm going to sketch the United States in terms of economics. Maybe it won't work, at which time you'll be able to see it because most of you are watching this in a video. If you're watching in the podcast, you can just flip over to the video and look at it. So I have to reset my intention. And let's see what comes out. Okay. It's kind of what we would suspect, but we would never believe. Okay. Okay. You guys are going to say that I'm biased. This is not true. The entire West Coast is X'd out. We're talking the other dimensions and prosperity in the United States. Texas looks great. That's orange creativity. We've worked, I'm not talking we as in my group and me. Everybody has worked a lot in terms of Texas. Looks great. The Northeast, but it also includes Florida today. Remember, Florida was looking really good. It's not looking good now in terms of economy. And I was reading today from the governor of Florida that everything is great. But this is in the other dimensions. This is what's coming up. So this whole area is like cut out. Not good. So they say you don't have a problem unless you need it. The whole doubling up of the eclipses and everything on Texas and everything that's been happening there, the confrontations that are there, certainly had us look like Texas was going down. Okay, I have to give you what I get. And in retrospect, I've been doing this for a lot of years. This, of everything that I do, the maps are the most reliable. There is no chance that any thought of mine or opinion of mine snuck in and tainted the information. If it had, I would not have done this with Florida. Okay, so this is the economy of the energies of the economy of the United States now, in the other dimensions where reality is created, not in the physical dimension, which is where the manifestation is. Okay? So, and I did sketch everybody. Today, by the way, is 8/8. So I'm going to take a little aside. Let's go to news again. Yes, I have ADD. I can be all over the map. Today is 8/8. It's a day of a portal where the numbers align. And I was doing some cutting of matrix implants in the third eye and the crown chakra this afternoon at 4 and at 5. When I would get to this side of the head, I could see the galaxy. That's never happened to me before. It was weird, interesting, fascinating. We're definitely in a portal. But also, I think most of you know my story about I owned a building here in Coral Gables, a 3-story building, and I put underneath 2 or 3 desks the swastika pointing in the direction that I wanted to point it in, which is the direction which is counterclockwise, which grounds things and lands things. And it's the root chakra, and the root chakra is about prosperity and money and grounding. You don't want your stuff to be up in the air. You want it grounded. The desks where they wrote receipts. And we put little flowers on it, but it was still a swastika. The swastika is over 6,000 years old. So I sold the building. And it wasn't until a year later I went, oh my God, we never pulled those things up. Okay, never mind. They probably won't notice it. And years later, I was having lunch with somebody. My family was having lunch with somebody. And one of them said, you know, the people at the city of Coral Gables think that you're a Nazi. I was like, what? And I didn't, and he wouldn't give an explanation. I don't think he knew. And it wasn't until I don't know when that I realized, oh my God, they found the swastikas. But today, a swastika, or maybe it was yesterday, there was a crop circle in the shape of a swastika. Very beautiful. And this is what I should have. You can almost not tell it's a swastika, okay? But it is a swastika. Let me show you. And it is rotating clockwise, which is crown chakra, which means connection to God. That portal is open. The Schumann resonance is doing wild things that have to do with our consciousness elevating. And then this crop circle came up, I believe, yesterday. That's the swastika, an artistic swastika. And there, you even have the center, which used to be called the Holy Grail, which is our center in the other dimensions. And when it is moving clockwise, which this swastika is, it is to stimulate and keep open your crown chakra. Isn't that beautiful? And then that takes us back to this. Look how interesting. See if I can get all 3 of these at one time. I don't think so. Okay, so we have to take this off. So I'm going to do this. Let me see if I can get these all up. No, it's not going to happen. Okay. Whatever. So that opening of the crown chakra, this is what happened to the United States when they tried to assassinate Trump. This is the crown chakra of the United States. This is a crop circle spiraling like the swastika in the direction of the crown chakra, all synchronized. Okay, so now so we have, this is all of us, the collective of this group now. Hot, hot, hot in the earth. So there are catastrophes, I'm sure. We do have the triple pyramid protection. Third eye is even more open, and we have a spaceship with the door open, a big spaceship with a big door open. And we have it on the left side, which is where I was doing my work today, and I could see the galaxy from here. Interesting. So now we find out that everything is going to improve and has improved because we're going to have faith, market confidence. So Trump gives us market confidence. Get that man in power. But we're going to have to, you know what? I'm going to treat you guys just like I treat the Mantrista movement, as if you had signed in on for saving the world in the other dimensions, which is where everything starts. Okay? We got to get Trump elected, but we have to subdue the enemy, which would be the enemy of him being elected. And it always, according to Buddhism, has to do with ignorance. The Buddhists are just so blankety blank elegant, and they really are. They really are. I've known a lot of them. They've stayed at my home building mandalas, and they are immaculate. They obviously don't need the homeopathy graphite, which I need because I have many times I talk too much. So I have to go back on it again. It's little teeny weeny sugar pills. Okay, so we have this. Well, this whole thing got, okay, so I'm trying to figure out what mantra to do. This West Coast is always a problem. We should find out what the core issue is in the West Coast, because it's continuous. We have to be continuously clearing it. Okay. Let's just do a generic purify the prosperity of the United. Miraculously, always use the word miraculously, because since April, with the frequency shifts on the planet, miracles are much easier to accomplish. And that word makes a huge difference, just that word. We're going to do a mantra having to do with purifying the prosperity of the United States. And then tomorrow we'll start on the peace and prosperity. But I want to focus on this. I'm curious to see what's going to happen, because I've never done this quite like this, and I enjoy doing things in a different way. So let me look at my list of mantras and see which one we should be using. If you give me a second. Okay. And I want to always put in the words in the midst of chaos, and I will tell you why. Because it's been predicted all over the place that there is going to be chaos. And when the chaos hits is not the place where you start to go, oh yeah, but I can be prosperous in the midst of chaos, even in the midst of chaos. No, we start exactly like the pictures. Exactly like the place. I was dealing with spirits and the cutting, and then this big hole that revealed the galaxy. So it was not so much fun. Okay, this is the mantra. Please God help me with my intention to create miraculous peace and prosperity in the midst of chaos. Do we want me with my intention? No, the wording is always really important. So I need to change it to our intention because we're doing this as a group. That way it creates one vector. Your intention creates a vector. And that vector, chaos. Hold on. I'm the one that's impatient. I apologize. Well, that's another homeopathy, but we're not going to get into that one now. Did I tell you? Okay. Psychic gossip. I got ivermectin. I'm going to read the formula psychically. Okay? And I am going to inject myself with it because I got it in the injectable, the liquid, and I'm going to watch what it does inside my body. I did that years ago. I may have said it here. No, I think I said it in the chat in Spanish. And I will let you know what it does. But in looking up ivermectin, I looked up a page where it tells you what the synonyms are. In other words, other products that are ivermectin but have a different name. And one of them is HeartGuard, which you find in the pet food store, which I know ivermectin was made first for pets, but it's what hangs in a little box, and it is for the worms in pets' hearts. That product, which you spend I don't know how many dollars on, is ivermectin. Okay, so this is and we're going to use the drums. Please God help us with our intention to create miraculous prosperity in the midst of chaos. Now, if we can get a significant percentage of the country to do this, we can create the basis for this. And people can feel it, because if you do it enough, you feel it. You become more optimistic, etc. And that is our goal, which we're accomplishing in Venezuela, and we're going to accomplish in Mexico. I think in this country, there's a little bit of shame going into this stuff. You don't mix the religion and the economics. They're all mixed in the other dimensions. It's a control issue. Okay, let's get the music, which is going to be different from what I usually put on. And let's try it. And this is an experiment. We're going to see what we can create. I'll see you afterwards. For those listening on the podcast, the mantra is, please God, help us with our intention to create miraculous prosperity in the midst of chaos, and it's for the United States. Okay. Very interesting. Because I could see what was happening as the healing was going on. I could see the map of the United States underwater, like drowning. Water is emotions. The country is drowning from emotions. It's true. And there was a hand pulling it out. So when I sketched, which was just a moment ago, all these blue lines is that water, blue, emotions, communication, but clearing. This is orange. The West, the word I got was mad. They're mad. There's mad, anger, fire in the earth. And I'm not, we don't have the time, but I remember a friend of mine was going to move and he didn't quite know where and he was looking. He thought Los Angeles. He said, read the energies of Los Angeles. So I did. Los Angeles had the energy of failure. And he says, that's not possible. Everybody goes there and, people, and I went, what percentage of people that go to Los Angeles actually make it into the position that was the reason they went to Los Angeles? Los Angeles is a city of failure. Energetically, city of failure. You can go to Los Angeles. Yeah, you may make it. Chances are you're not going to. And we all know that. And yet we think. But how about all that grief of every time you didn't get called to the studio or you didn't get the contract? That's all in the land. And Los Angeles is a city of failure energetically. Does it look like it? Oh, no. They always look like they were having fun. Well, where is that grief and that anger that they didn't get what they wanted, which was the reason why they moved there? Mad. It's in the earth. This I didn't expect, and I'm not sure that's the only reason. I'm just remembering when I read Los Angeles, and my friend was shocked. And then at the end, he said, it makes sense. Everybody is frustrated. You don't see the frustration. They keep trying. They keep, look at Marilyn Monroe. She made it to the top. So frustrated, she killed herself or whatever. There's a conspiracy around everything. So Texas still looks good. Florida looks good. But the deterioration in Florida to where it no longer looks good was 4 or 5 days ago. And I remember now. And then there was Florida became 0 point for ETs wanting to take it down. And apparently they did, because the map from earlier today, Florida is part of what gets taken down. So whatever was taking down Florida just happened within the last 4 or 5 days. I didn't take graphic. I'm going to take it again. So I'm not going to make the next statement. Fill in the blanks. But you know what was so interesting in the Northeast? When we first started, I could see some beings stitching up. The Northeast is literally energetically separated from the United States. Now, there's a map that was done hundreds of years ago, and it showed that there would be a separation when that new fault line formed after 9/11, and there was an earthquake 20 days, 30 days later, whatever, 6 weeks, 46 weeks later. I thought that fault line is what's going to cause this part of the country to separate from the rest of the country. Well, apparently it already did in the other dimensions, but there were beings there that were stitching the two parts together. So you know what? Working on the whole country works. Oh, yes, Francis. Good luck with your group where you believe all this stuff. Are you Christian or Catholic? Did you read the Bible? It says a grain of salt in faith and you can move a mountain, and you're going to question me because it's not Sunday? You have to apply these spiritual principles to life today outside of church. And then when you apply them, that same, what is it, a parable, a quote, means that we can have superpowers. A grain of sand or a grain of salt? A faith, crown chakra, which is what just got open, is getting open, which is what Trump opened for the United States. The day that they tried to kill him, he opened the crown chakra. Faith. Doesn't matter if they try to kill you. You can make it triumphant. Applying what they tried to teach you in church, that they weren't practicing themselves necessarily, and applying it to business, applying it to the shift of the ages, to the new cycle on the planet, applying it when we meet ETs. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a whole different set of rules. I do know that you don't have to worry about communication because telepathy was always the original language of the planet, and you still have the ability of telepathy. You won't need to know their language at all. So we did good. I'm very pleased. This is episode number 45. And because every time I put a title, I would forget or deviate and not talk about what I was supposed to talk about. What did we do today? We proved to you, and it's up to you whether to what extent you accept it, that you can do really poorly in terms of prosperity, or everything around you can collapse. But if you keep your focus and you have the right worded mantra, which is not difficult at all, you can create change and get what you want. And you can. This is how we looked when we started. This is how we looked. And it was only 8.5 minutes of mantra. So I am going to end it on that. Today is an 8/8, a day of a huge portal. Schumann resonance is going crazy, as it has been for several weeks. And you know what? This can end up a lot better than we thought. But we are going to have to subdue the enemy, which in this case, I don't think that if you believe everything, the whole thing with this, the enemy would be the people that would not want for the person that opened the United States crown chakra, the people that would oppose that. And then I'm going to go back. I probably should take an extra dose of graphite. I'm going to go back to so much fun in California and Los Angeles. And they're mad? They're not just mad now. A spiritually sophisticated knows those areas and says they're mad now. They've always been mad. It was repressed. All those people in Los Angeles, I'm going to say it, they're losers in terms of their intention. They didn't achieve it. Which common folk jargon, they're losers. Oh, but they're having so much fun. No, they're not having so much fun. And guess who took on that not having so much fun and grief? And I want to die because I'm never going to get what I want. The earth took it on. And then we wonder why we have to worry continuously about California. Anyway, there are probably other things. I may be making more to this than there is. But it's the same thing with people. When you get those, what do they call? The people that are so nice and so good. And then when stuff comes out, it's like, wait a second, where'd this come from? It was there all the time. It was repressed. And that's what's so important with the mantras, that you can do a mantra about anything that you do that's god awful, and you can get it purified. And then you just get left with your good stuff. Okay, this is it. Thank you for joining me, and we will be back tomorrow. I promise I'm going to take the graphite, even though I think you'll enjoy it if I don't take it, but then maybe I won't be able to continue to do podcasts. So I'm going to take the graphite.